Now, to create an assessment with multiple standards, I tap Assessments, I tap Create Assessments, and I'm going to the Standards, so tap Standards, and I'm going to Multiple Standards, the bottom one. And here I complete this form, just like I do for all the other assessments. Now I'm going to put a title in, and I'll call it, I'm going to call this Habitat Project. And let's say this is science. I can put a value in, an overall value, or I can just use a rating scale, which is what I tend to do, is just use rating scales. But maybe for this case, in this case, I'm going to say it's 20 with 20. Now, if I'm teaching a combined class with more than one grade, this is showing my grade 4s. Maybe this is assessment for my grade 5s. I would tap here and it'd give me a choice. If I have more than one grade entered and I've set up that I'm a multi-level class in settings, then this option will come up where I can change this to show just my grade 5s or show just my grade 4s. So Habitat happens to be grade 4 set of standards, so I'm going to leave grade 4. The date, I just tap on this, select the date I want, like this, and then just tap outside of that little menu until it goes away. And then the term 1, I'm going to leave it at term 1. This often will be like this. It'll be just say more options, and I can tap that to see more options. There's more details on what each of these things are in some of the other assessments. So if you're interested in finding more about this bottom part, just look at the Create Assessment for general. Create an assessment for a general assessment. It'll give details about these. So I'm just going to leave them for now because I don't often fill them in. But I'm going to press Next. And right now it says grade 4 because my grade 4s were the ones who were selected. And it says Science because that was the subject. So I could just tap here and choose Habitat. And these are the standards for Habitat. So I could choose that one. And it says here over here, you see a check mark on the right-hand side. It means I've already assessed that once at least. Just so you can kind of know what you assessed and what you haven't yet. So I'm going to do both of those. But maybe I'm going to do some other assessment, areas besides science. Because this is a cross-curricular project. So I might go to, information communication, and then tap this, and go to, communication. And maybe I'm going to select that one. And then I'm going to tap that again, and I'm going to go to language arts. And I'm going to tap the strand and choose a strand for writing maybe. And select whatever I want for that. Maybe both of those. Now, if this was for a student on an IPP or an individualized program plan or educational plan, whatever you call it, instead of grade 4, if I tap that, there'd be another one. If I've created some for a student, in the grade spot, I would have chosen a different grade for that student, like their initials. And so let's say it was Sophie Oliver. I usually would use SO as the grade for that student. And that would come up in here, and I would choose SO, and then just that student's outcomes would come here. And you can see that in another video as well. So let's say that's it. I've got all the standards I want, and I'm going to just press Next. And then it says, do you want to enter values for each standard? This is optional, as some educators may wish to only use a rating scale. So I'll put yes just to show you. If I put yes, it goes to value. So I can put a value for the communication outcome. How much is that worth? I could say it's worth 5. And then the habitat one where they're exploring local nature habitats, I could say 2, and so on. So I could complete these, putting different values. Now, if I said the whole thing was worth 20, I'd have to make sure that this added up to 20, right? Maybe that's worth 4, and maybe this part's worth 10. Okay, and then when I'm done that, I press Next at the top, and I choose my rating scale. And I'm going to choose a 3-point rating scale. You can choose whatever rating scale you want. These are preset, but you can create your own and store your own rating scale, and edit it once it's been changed, once you've created one. You can change the colors of these and all that, but that's in another video called rating scales. So let's say I've selected, these are all my grade 4s I want involved, selected for this. I'm going to press submit. And it's going to take me to a list of all the students in this assessment. And if I want to go to a particular student, I have to expand it to see the different standards that I want to evaluate for each of these students. So if I go to Anita Bath, at the very top one, you'll see expand, a little arrow, green box with a black arrow in it beside her name. If I tap that, it'll come up and show all the standards that I had selected. If there were more standards than would fit on this little box, you'd have to scroll with your finger, just to scroll up and down, and that little box would scroll. And basically, for Anita Bath, I could put in a score for each of these if I wanted. So she got 4. Maybe on this one she had 2, and I could also do the rating as well. So she's beginning, or well, I wouldn't say 4. I'll say she's on your way. This one, she's got it, and so on. So I can mark all those, and I could give an overall rating of maybe on your way. And if you want to know more about kind of the options for multiple standard assessments, then look at the next video on basically using multiple standard assessments. To check that out, you press the little video button up in the corner of this screen, and that will take you to all the videos associated with this particular screen.